Hello, everybody. I am Dan Maloney. I'm here joined with my co-host, Mr. Dan Bolgatz and Anika Jones.
Hey-o.
Well, hello.
And today, we are joined by none other than Las Vegas native Tony Castillo, known as Tone Castle. He is a multidisciplinary artist specializing in large-scale murals and live event painting. His work, trusted by major organizations across multiple states, blends the precision of realism with bold, flat colors and patterns, creating pieces that blur the line between the real and the fantastical. With a meticulous approach to wall space, environment, and color harmony, Tony designs each work to integrate seamlessly into its surroundings. His ultimate aim? To spark a sense of wonder that lingers long after the first glance.
Pow!
Mr. Tony.
Hello.
How are you doing, dude?
I'm good. AI wrote that.
I was like,
awesome.
how long did
All
it take for ChatGPT to write that one? Is that?
Damn, I was going to be like, now how many prompts did that? But it's pretty nice. I mean, first and foremost, happy birthday, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, this is coming out not on your birthday, but that's not today, so.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Well, cool deal, man. Well, thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure to sit down with you. Dan and I are super stoked. We've done a handful of projects. They're always fantastic. They always come out killer. You're on the sides of buildings, the sides of parking garages. You're up high, you're down low. So we're excited to learn some more down low physically, not hopefully mentally.
No, you're
I
right.
don't know. Yeah, you know. So we're excited to
what we're
learn
here to
more,
find
man.
out today.
I
Tell
feel
us
like
all.
you're kind of an enigma, maybe purposefully so. So, you know.
Yeah, you think so?
You know.
I think so.
You
You
tell-
definitely
yeah.
have a persona, but I'm curious, is like how do you view yourself as an artist? I would feel like
Great
it's a
question.
good question to start out with.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I don't really. I think I have the imposter syndrome just as much as anyone else.
Really?
You know, I mean, I think it's one of those things where art has been in my life and creating things has, always been there. So it's kind of hard to separate the two. You know, it's growing up, I was always drawing and all that. In third grade, I was, I did a picture of a car, and the teacher submitted it to the regional school thing, and I won. And it never really hit me. Even after I won, I got a $20 gift certificate and a ribbon.
Nice.
It's
What was the gift certificate to?
a Blockbuster.
Nice.
Okay.
And my mom ended up giving that card away. And it I don't know, it just, I feel like I was kind of raised in an environment where art wasn't a realistic future.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that you did for fun. That's something you did to pass time or whatever. But, as you get older, it's if that's what you're meant to do, that's what you're going to do. There's no way to get away from it. And it got to a point where I couldn't do anything else. I have to do something creative. I just get so bored. I have, how do I say this? Uncontrollable ADHD, and I just have to be doing something. And art was just one of those things where I would draw, get bored of pencil, move to marker, get bored of that, spray paint, watercolors, anything. And I'd rotate. I do music. I did music for 10 years. I didn't even touch any visual art, except for making T-shirts, or we would make our own posters and stickers and stuff like that to promote. I just always have to create something. I always have to I'm fidgety. I got to do something. So I don't know. It's just, I even look back at the giant wall in Reno I did, and it's almost I feel like it wasn't me that did it.
Sure.
It's hard to describe. It's it feels like it just is in me. I don't know if I could do any other job.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think what you're speaking to resonates with a lot of artists out there. And so can I ask what was the very first medium you got yourself into? What was the first one that really grasped that? Was it the drawing of a car in 8th grade, or was it before then?
I think that was third grade.
Third grade.
Third
right?
Third grade car.
Little dude.
Just,
Yeah. Well, you know, I grew up in a low-income family. Drawing utensils are cheap, so that's what we did. We didn't have TV, we didn't have cable, we didn't have video games. We drew, we played outside, but it's Las Vegas where it's so hot. So I did a lot of drawing. I spent a lot of time by myself just because of the environment I grew up in. And let's just say I grew up in a cult.
Yeah.
And we were very isolated from other people. A lot of other influences, like we didn't watch Disney movies. We didn't listen to certain types of music. They had their own music. Just things that very suppressive and controlling. And then once I broke free of that, I went the opposite direction. I was just like punk music, metal music, anything rebellion.
Right.
I was raised like anti-government, anti-authority, so that kind of lingered.
Sure.
It's just very different when you're like raised in an environment that's not the normal, and then when you're thrown into it, it's like I feel like I don't belong.
Right. It's like those guardrails
Yeah.
are taken off.
Yeah.
And so then it's like a prism. You can go in any direction.
Right.
And then you're going to ride that until you get bored and go a different direction.
Yeah, because you're exposed to so much. Like, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
That's
You
awesome.
mentioned music. What did you play? Was it multiple bands? You said for 10 years, that's all
Yeah.
you did?
So I was a stagehand here in town. That's one of the things I did. I played in bands. I played bass, guitar. I even Gibson. The project we did at Gibson was on the orchestra building. That's where I started. Was with violin, and that was like one of the few creative things my parents supported because it was in school.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
And it's like if it's in school, then it must be real.
Gotcha.
You know, make sense of that.
Okay.
And then, but violin wasn't cool, right? So then
Sure.
by the time I hit high school, I was playing guitar and. I don't know. I just had an outlet. I had to have some kind of outlet of some sort. And I'm not. I mean, I don't know how you guys perceive, but I'm not a very talkative guy. I'm not very loud. I hate being on camera generally. I'm working on it. But
So then this is perfect. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
You're right at home right
But
here.
I'm working through it because I know I need to get past it.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's not something that I think is a good thing. I think it's something that people need to get over, and it's something I need to get over. And especially as an artist, as like a business owner, you have to put yourself out there. You have to, own your stuff.
Dude, I think you and I have talked about it, like when we were doing that fantastic project last fall with the little Chinese dragon that we got to do several times. I won't name names, but anyways, when we were doing that, you and I was taking some videos, and I was like, dude, we got to get better. I got to get better at this camera thing. You're like, me too, man. I hate, and like we were resonant, like as a business owner, Dan knows, like I hate the repost to the story thing. Like it's like I want that, I don't want to be that guy, but then at the end of the day, like you're saying, it's like whether you're uncomfortable for whatever reason, you're uncomfortable with it when you own your own business. If you're trying to be a self-employed artist, like those are just some things, some band-aids you have to rip off, unfortunately, nowadays. Fortunately, unfortunately.
Yeah.
However you...
It's the year we're in.
Right.
Well, it's funny too. I grew up in that same kind of household. I too was in orchestra. I played bass for a really long time, and that was a thing that when it came to art that my family got behind because it was something that you could do in school and something that you might eventually get paid for. I get that concept. So now that you've done all these amazing things, you have all these different mediums that you've like really mastered and shown that. How are you going to or want to project to your family or to your little one like this is what you can do in the same way and not feel like this is a hobby-based career?
Right. I used to have this feeling for a long time that I was kind of resentful, I guess, that I didn't have more supportive parents and all that. But, you get into it, and part of me was like, in your face,
Yeah.
But then you become a dad, and you see, like, I do understand that part of them where they wanted me to have a safe option. And I totally get that. But there is a balance.
Yeah.
And with my daughter, I'll put on ballet videos so she can dance because she likes to, that's the pattern I'm starting to learn is that she likes to ballet dance. I try to get her into drawing, but she's not so much into that. But I want to lean into the things she likes. If next year she wants to
Absolutely.
draw, then that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, I don't ever want to get to a point where I'm telling her you can't do this. You could, especially in the world we live in now, you could make money on YouTube for the silliest thing, anything you can
Absolutely.
imagine.
Oh yeah.
I'm never going to tell my kids you can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I wish I wish that was the mentality I was raised with,
Right.
because I wouldn't feel so like I was fighting upstream or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
for someone.
Have that chip on your shoulder, like you
Yeah.
were saying, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask, are there any ways that kind of having that chip on your shoulder has made you a better artist or pushed you further to take it to that extreme?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, I would say even a lot of the mediums I learned was out of spite.
Okay.
You know, like playing the violin, you know, it's whatever. But like my dad would make comments like, you know, it's violin. It's not, because
Yeah.
band was taken. Like by the time I got to Gibson, everything in the band was taken. So I had to take orchestra.
Yeah.
Violin was like the only thing that was open. And I was first chair, second violin. So it's like I was, you know, not bad, but it still wasn't good enough. And it wasn't cool enough. So now I had to do something different. So I learned guitar just to be like,
Well, I can do it
you've
too.
always wanted to learn guitar,
Yeah.
but you were so much of a that
Yeah.
you never did, and
Right.
I just did it. And it's like that's such an awful way to live. And I'm not trying to say that's a good thing, but
Right,
but the
right.
spite is a drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's just I'm a passionate person, and I find ways to make it work in my favor to get to where I want to go. You know,
Mm-hmm. Right.
it's just something you have to kind of learn to do, or I did. So
Yeah, I think that's like a recurring theme we see, not only on this podcast, but in all the artists that we work with, is they have to find a way, whatever the motivation is, whether it's they had support or they didn't have support, whatever it is, they have to find a way to like channel that creative process. And I would say one thing I want to note is like most of the folks have more than one medium that we talk to. And so like to your point, you mentioned a little bit about like, do you find yourself, if you get bored with one, you kind of go to the other and it helps you come back? Like talk a little bit about like that creative process.
this is a perfect example. Okay, so the last few months I have just been slammed. We were doing like Area 15, and I was doing this Airbnb, and it's just like all these, to the point where I can feel it in my bones, where I'm starting to not, you know, you kind of getting burned out,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
especially if it's on projects where you don't have all the creative control that you want to have.
Sure.
And it's very physical. People don't realize that like murals are physical.
Dude,
You
that one
guys
at
know.
Eldorado, you're like going up 18 feet,
Right.
coming back, carrying
Incredible.
5 gallons up.
Yeah, it's a workout.
Oh, dude.
You can't go. I mean, some of these jobs, like I'm skipping the gym for the next 2 days because I'm so sore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I lost the point.
The burnout. Yeah.
Yeah, the burnout.
Yeah.
So I will go and play guitar. I'll go and watch Pink Floyd videos and play bass along with it, or just, you know, something different, you know. I think it's just something that some people are born with, where they just, it's like I have to keep moving, but I feel like I have to be moving in something that's progress or like
Yeah.
productive. And to me, there's nothing unproductive about art, because at the worst case is you're getting practicing, you're learning better. So by the time that moment comes around where someone comes up to you and say, hey, can you paint this big building? I'll be like, yes, I can.
Yeah.
And I'll be shaking the first week I'm doing it, but I'm going to do it regardless, because this is what I wanted to do, and this is what I've been practicing for.
Yeah.
So it's your time to shine.
Yeah.
No, that's I love the way that you put that, because a lot of people don't look at it that way, right? Like the mundane of painting certain things that they don't want to paint, or coming up with logos, or you're a very special case, because in some of the instances, like I think back to our project of Boys and Girls Club, where you had every single NBA logo that you had to paint within 36 hours or it was just a ridiculous task. And then the way that you figured out, you're like, okay, I think I got that. And then you averaged it out for amount of time spent per logo, and you still got it done in that amount of time. And so many people would look at that and think like, okay, well, this is a challenge or a parameter or something that's going to prevent me from putting out the best work. And instead, I think you look at those and you're like, okay, like how is this an opportunity to strut not only the practice that's gone in behind it, but now the skills and how it looks as a finished product on the front end. And I think that's something that a lot of artists can, I hope resonate with, but to emulate and try and look up to as like a role model, because a lot of people don't orchestrate that way. And I think it's worth noting that you're a very special talent like that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to like do the best job I can. You know, it's I put my name on it. even if it's something like creative control, I don't have any. It's like I still want it to be good. You know, I don't want anyone talking bad about my stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can talk bad about my stuff, and I can look back at all my stuff and see all the flaws and not like any of it. But I don't want anyone to say, "Oh, he was lazy," or "He didn't show up," or "He didn't paint what I wanted," or "He left halfway." Like all these things, I hear all the time about artists in Vegas, and it doesn't bother me any because that's more work for me. But you know, I think artists need to realize if that's really what you want to do, and that it is a business like everything else, and you have to have customer service, and you have to do what you say you're going to do, and have a product that's worth buying. You're a business at the end of the day. I mean, it's great that you get to do art and do what you like to do and have fun and stuff, but at the end of the day, you have to sell a product to clients.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't know, just business advice for me. That's all. I'm just like,
No,
just
it's
be serious.
It's
If you
excellent.
want to be serious, be serious.
Yeah.
So
I think that's like a go ahead.
No, I was
I'm
just gonna
just
say this is like
roses to you
literally,
saying that, 'cause,
literally
like,
roses to that
I've been
because
like-
it's a part of the programming that we were trying to push out to younger artists, to aspiring artists, to really harness everything that you've said today. Not just the business side of it, the customer service side of it, but being able to use this as an outlet for expression. Turn this into something that you've been told isn't, you know, this is not going to be a career. Turn it exactly into that. Let this be the motivation for you. That's not anything that I experienced hearing, you know, growing up, even being in the arts. It's not anything that we heard. So that is so a part of what we're trying to teach younger people. You're already showing that you're more than capable of that with all the local spaces that you're doing. You're at some of my favorite places downtown. You know what I mean? These places that we frequent on a regular basis. Like I'm straight up posing in front of all of your artwork downtown. This is something that our kids need to see because it's just been too niche for too long in a city with so much talent, you know?
right.
So we appreciate you for that, for sure.
Yeah, and I think you made an earlier point that it's like, you know, the separating, like at the end of the day, it is a business, and so you have to put your best foot forward. And so like art that you create for yourself, you know, like you said earlier, at the end, like that might not be what the client wants, but at least I'm practicing.
Yeah.
At least I'm doing something else, and eventually I'll get to do the art that I want to do, right? And I know that, I guess, through our different projects we've worked, there's been some you've designed. There's also been stuff that like you're a really good like team player in terms of you're like, okay, that's the kind of design they want to go out. I'll coordinate that and that sort of thing. I'm curious to ask you, of the projects you've worked with us, do you have a favorite or one that stands out?
I mean, that night.
Oh, dude.
That's very cool.
That's-
That's very cool.
I mean, for one, it was like full creative control, I believe, other than like the name.
pretty
that
much
they wanted
it, yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And then the size of it, and then everything. Like they were more accommodating than other schools. And then, I mean, you know, and I just like the final image. And then, you know, I don't know, like the wolf thing that I did with Trent.
Oh, yep.
cool.
That's a cool one.
I don't know. I think really it comes down to the bird. Whatever gives me the most freedom, and then, you know, no matter what the job is, I try to make it look cool.
Yeah. Of
course.
And as you guys probably know, like I'll even send you things that I think look cool, and I'll be like, "Is this too much?" Because you know it's an elementary school, and I've got, like, you know.
Yeah.
But it's so cool. It's like the way that you're able to add, say, like that PG-13 or that rated R flair without being explicit in that, and
Yeah.
like taking your own flair in that. It's so cool. Like you brought up, you know, very briefly El Dorado in that way, where it's
Yeah.
like that's a high school that's unfortunately in a little bit of an economically challenged area of town, and they're really trying to rebuild their entire sports program because they have new zoning requirements and XYZ. And that's one that like it's such a simple design on that left side, that Rise in the East, which is a new brand, and on the right side it's the coolest version of a Firehawk I
Yeah.
think that any of them will ever see. And so it's like you take that opportunity, and it's like then they see the artist coming in, and it's like that makes so much
Yeah,
sense.
exactly,
Like, that's so cool,
exactly.
you know.
okay.
And so it's cool how like each one of your art pieces has your own personal flair on it, and you can tell that it's a Tony Castillo because it's definitive. I don't know how to explain it, but it's definitive.
Well, that's we're gonna have to talk later because I don't know if that's just me or if this is like an artist thing, but it's like it's hard for me to see my own style.
Okay.
I hear people say things like that, but I'm like, I don't know. I feel like everything looks so different to me. You know.
Yeah, and it's also like I was like, depending on what a client wants, you
Yeah.
know, it's like
Yeah.
how am I putting? That's a perfect example. The Firehawks, it's a Phoenix. X, but you know, we're not allowed to say that.
Right.
But you know, that's a perfect example of like you can kind of take that in your own direction.
Yeah.
But other logos and things like that, it's like, how is that really, you know? And even a night, you're like, how Tony can I make this night? But even at that, it's like, dude, that's
So
I
real,
think that's
so vivid.
that's in the middle of our little portfolio brochures. We say is go from this to this,
Yeah.
and
For
it's the
people just listening, it's a 40-foot tall knight riding on
100
top of a
feet
back of a
wide.
horse with one of the lancer sticks
Yeah.
sticking
Giant.
out. Yeah, I mean it's
This guy's
full
not afraid of a
jousting.
scissor lift at all.
That was
No.
like our first project together too. That was, I think that was the very first one. If
The
I'm not
first
mistaken.
project we did together was
CC Rano.
Oh, okay.
If you remember, it was like an Apache style Chichen Itza pyramid in the background with like an Apache warrior or something on the
Yeah.
front with like a really
Oh,
creative
yeah,
face.
yeah.
So that was like an event where you had a bunch of artists come and we all got like a 10-foot wall or something like
Yeah.
Yep.
something like that. But the first, let me think, the YMCA was the first, I think, paying gig
Oh,
with you
okay.
guys, and that was when we did the hummingbird that comes, the AR.
Oh, okay.
Video.
Never
Yeah.
mind. You've been around from the
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's been great working with you guys ever since. It's like I remember that I met a lot of artists that I followed on the internet at that event.
Yeah.
In person, you know, that was cool.
Because that was 2020.
Yeah,
That was-
so
that
what
was-
Tony's talking about is our old CCAPs. So it was kind of in our beginning stages of Graffiti Park, our first couple of years, when we would have schools reached out to us and they would say, hey, we have this amount of money, which is not a substantial amount of money, and we can pay for supplies. And so then we would essentially curate based on the principal's desire for themes and the paint budget that we had and allocate for certain murals. And so that was our very first attempts at cultivating this community that
Yeah.
is Graffiti Park. And so we get some flack for some of those projects and the way that some felt that everybody should be paid for all of them, and we wish that were always the case and that we were able to, but that was the best that we could do in those moments. And
Yeah.
so ultimately, right, those were kind of how we gained our traction steps of our footing in this arena to go on and create these commissioned murals now where we're at now. And so I think that's a really important part of our story. It's awesome that you've been there literally since the very beginning of it.
Yeah, I had
and you've
no idea.
seen I mean, at every stop, he painted the hummingbird mural. That was a hummingbird from Steve from Mozart. That was one of the ones that came alive with the augmented reality. And
Alrighty.
still, again, works in progress, I guess. But
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, it was a cool opportunity. I've worked with AR, that's something I've never done.
Yeah.
I met a lot of artists, and it's like, you know, at the time, there was a lot of artists working with you guys that were like brand new. This is their first wall.
Yeah.
Or this is their first spray paint.
Yep.
Or,
Oh, wow.
you know, this wasn't like, you know, you guys are hiring a bunch of artists and then saying, well, we're not going to pay you. It was, you know, if you want to try a mural for the first time, we've got a wall for you, and
Yeah.
we've got artists next to you, and we've got supplies, and you know, at the time it was like something brand new, and it was helping the community. And you know, I remember we went to eat at some point, and it's like we were just talking about how this, you know, you kind of foretold how Graffiti Park was going to be, and how it affects the community, and it does, and in such a positive way. And it's like you could see it coming, because like we talked about this before. I grew up here. There was no art scene really.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You know, there was no arts district. You know, what it is now is just what I dreamed it would have been when I was younger. And it's
Sure.
like for the next generation, and or you know, even for someone to be like, hey, I have this wall at a school. It's going to be up for a year or whatever. If anyone wants to come spray paint something, like, dude, I wish I
Yeah.
had that
Yeah, yeah,
opportunity.
yeah.
You know, and like. You guys might not know it now, but there might have been one artist that was like, okay, I'll go do that. And you might have just changed their life because now that's something they see as a viable future. And,
100%.
You know, or even now at the schools you're doing now, it's like you guys are making careers for
Yeah.
other artists.
Yeah, it's always fun when there's like kids of all ages kind of just walking around and they're like, oh, what's that? What's going to go there? You know, you're just taping a wall and they're like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm painting a mural. They're like, what's that? And you're like talking to them, so they have no idea what's happening. So even in those little moments, you're kind of like, that's cool. That kid's going to come back on Monday and see a giant panda
Right.
Yeah.
on the wall. And so,
And it's like, that's the thing. It's just good art makes like someone walk into a room and go, whoa, like
sure.
that's there's no other feeling than watching someone walk, like a bunch of kids walk up to into a classroom that I did this like fox and some skies, I don't know, some other stuff. And these kids walk, we got a video of it. I never shared it because I don't want to like approach or
Yeah.
privacy stuff, but it was like an emotional moment because there's like 100 kids and some of them are screaming and it's just like, I'm like, oh, like I know they're kids, but it's like some of them, it's
That's that spark. That's what they needed
Right.
right there. Yeah.
this gray hallway and now it's like colorful and it's got animals in it. It's just like they can't take their eyes off of it. It's just, it's a feeling.
Well, and not only that, but if I'm not mistaken, that was the one where like the principal had like the whole school come out and it was like an unveiling moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a cool moment because some of those kids, like they see themselves in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're the ones drawing on the desks, being told that art isn't a career, being told like all these things. And then they look over and they see a handsome, tatted up, guy driving a Challenger doing all this stuff, like you're an inspiration to those kids. And to them, they're like, oh, this is a feasible opportunity for me to go out and be an artist full time.
Yeah.
Like they have no idea what you do out on the other side of things, but that's like a really cool moment for them too, because you're an artist that just got showed the entire school, where you're not one of the people selling cookie dough or some of these other,
Right.
speakers where
Vendors.
you really resonate with the kids that way,
Yeah. And I'm glad to hear that, honestly, because it's like I said, I just some kids need that reinforcement in their life to be like, this is a viable future for you.
Sure.
Your parents may not be supportive at home or might not have much of a home life, but there's a future.
Yeah.
There's a way out. And art, you're building it yourself. There's no excuses, no shortcuts. You have to learn yourself. You can take all the time you want, and it shows in your work. You can't cheat. I mean,
Right.
you can try to cheat, but there's you can tell.
Yeah.
And no great artists and no one, I think, took a shortcut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to live out this life, and that's just what it is. It's like
Exactly.
a lifestyle.
Exactly.
You said Colt. Should I ask about that? Is that?
Yeah.
Well,
I had like this burning question, but I was like,
Thank
I
you
probably
for-
shouldn't ask that on
Thank
air.
you.
I
That's
was gonna
good.
wait for the after hours.
so obviously I don't talk about my past a lot.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I was raised Jehovah's Witness, but Jehovah's Witnesses change depending what congregation you go to. We were in the central congregation, which wasn't that bad, but the way that my family, maybe I shouldn't say it's not that bad. My parents were really into it.
Got it.
And my parents had their own mental issues, and it was just it's just not a good thing. There's like a that Leah Remini show where she's like
Yeah.
escaping Mormonism,
Scientology, yeah.
So there's an episode on that if you ever want to
It's deep.
learn more about it. Anyway, they don't do birthdays, holidays, anything that could be pagan. We never watched Star Wars because the Force could be witchcraft. These kind of things. When I was in school and there was a birthday party or a holiday or anything, I was asked to leave, and I'd go to the library and I would draw, or I would read comic books.
Wow.
And I spent a lot of time alone because of that exact reason. And if they're not in the church, you can't be friends with them.
Oh, okay.
So I had no friends outside the church, and they have this, this mentality of like, there's the outside world and then there's us, and then there's like God loves us and we're anointed and we're all these, you're told that you're the special great and everything outside is bad and the government is bad. And it's just a really crazy way to live, and you don't even know you're in it until you get older and start to socialize like in high school and stuff. And I'm just like, I am a weirdo, right? Like, I don't know the social references. I don't like sports. I mean, there's like just things that everyone seemed to love. I
These
just didn't
connecting
get.
factors. Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand it. And like I said, I have really bad ADHD, and I was in 6th grade. It was still called ADD. They put me on medicine. I told them after a few weeks that I didn't like it because it made me feel nothing, which now as an adult, it made me slow down and kind of be normal. And so they took me off of it, and they're just like, okay, well then do whatever you want. And so I had it this whole time, and I just kind of didn't think nothing of it. And I really thought I could do it naturally. Like my mom was very holistic, and she was like, don't trust the government and all this stuff. And was like, well, there's a natural way to fix it and all this stuff. And I tried so hard, and I ended up getting really bad into drugs and alcohol and stuff. I was looking at 4 years in prison for selling larceny, hit and run on a car, not a person. Basically, my life was just like a wreck. I was homeless. When I got kicked out of the church, I was homeless. I didn't have any friends because you're not allowed to have friends outside the church. It like ruined my life. And I'm a kid. I had nobody.
This is like high school, like senior year type, or even younger?
16, so junior year.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
It was really rough. I didn't talk to my family. I ended up moving to LA, joined a band. I couch surfed for years. I had a hard time holding jobs because of my ADD, and I would get so bored, or I feel like I could do more than this, since this isn't enough. I came back here, did the music thing. It was like, like, I love music, and it's probably my number one creative, but it's just I got pushed out because I feel like the environment is so toxic at the time. Everyone's on drugs. When I was a stagehand, like I met a lot of great people, and it's like everyone's high. If you're not high, you're the weirdo. If you're not doing meth to stay up all night to do whatever work you had to do, then you were the weirdo.
You're the outcast, yeah.
Right. So it was, and I couldn't hang. Fast forward to me facing prison time, and then I go to drug court, go to halfway house. I started doing construction gigs, and construction gigs really called me because everyone is different, and they paid a lot, and you work with your hands. And I was always, it was like, I love this. So I did painting, I did glass. Eventually I ended up owning a door and glass company.
Oh, wow.
I wanted to ask about that because it's for anybody listening or watching. There are amazing steel door frames that you would move into these intricate, different filigree, and like you'll tell it better, but modify other people's existing doors, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, basically. So we do custom glass and iron, and we would switch out your windows, or we would retrofit your door or your bathroom or whatever. All creative stuff. But I hate construction because the customers are so picky. And a lot of it's like, we got our glass from China, and it takes 6 months sometimes, and if it shows up wrong, it's just a nightmare. Whereas like, I'm going back to art, dude.
Yeah.
Art pays just the same, and
You have control.
quarter of the stress.
Yeah.
And I love it. So basically, I mean, so I was all over the place with my life, and that's why it's like art. I just feel like I had to admit to myself, if I wasn't creating, I'm going to go somewhere dark and bad. So I have to do this,
Sure.
And I didn't tell people that because, I'm embarrassed a little bit, and, I'm not proud of all the shit I've done. And I ended up with like 11 felonies that I just got my record sealed a couple years ago. But I do think it is good because it's like there was a point where, I was suicidal. I thought I'm not going to make it as anything in this life. I'm just too weird. I just don't fit anywhere. I can't commit to this. And art was like what saved me because it was the one thing that made me feel normal. Or it's the one thing that made me feel good about myself, because I would do something and people were like, wow, I can't do that. And I'm like, that's the only thing on earth you can't do that I can do. So... And I didn't have the best self-esteem. I didn't have the support of family. It's like, I just, it's almost like the spite had to fuel me because I didn't have anything else,
right.
And I'm not going to go back there. I'm only going up, and I refuse to believe otherwise, and I'm not going to, let anyone stop me. And
there you go.
Like,
It's badass, man.
I mean, first of all, I appreciate it. And I think, thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
Being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Being that you just mentioned like self-esteem, despite, were there other, once you're kind of making your own friends, creating your other networks, were there people that were helping motivate you? Were there people that you could lean on, that were pushing you to create and go that direction? Or is this like Tony's bodying life and he's going to figure it out?
Well, I would say like music probably saved me the most, because I had my friends from concerts that I made. And a lot of times when I couch surfed, it was with other punk kids, and one of them would have a cool mom and let me sleep there for a week. Or, but there was that foundation in the punk scene, because we were all kind of playing music. We were all very underground. We would make our own shirts and there was like this. there wasn't a big music scene either, but there was a punk scene, a little one, and it was all very connected, and so we had that. I feel like that's kind of where it's kind of weird talking like retrospectively of thinking about this.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like where the creative community of mine started.
Okay.
And then, you become friends with musicians, and then I date a makeup artist, and now I'm just surrounded by creatives. I go to LA. I have even now, most of my friends are photographers, you guys, like artists, musicians. That's just the people I'm drawn to. And I respect people that follow their passions and have the balls to do it. And not even just do it, but the only way you can get good at it is if you can take criticism and you can admit where your flaws are, because if you just think you know everything, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So there's that mutual respect of someone that perfects their craft, because, they've got certain aspects about them. They got responsibility, and they're patient, or, things you relate to.
Yeah. Yeah, the willingness to fail.
Yeah.
And they've put in the hours behind it that that it's like, okay, like there's a lot of struggle in order to even get to that place of like being able to relate or resonate with others,
Right.
During those times that you said you were your darkest, were you still creating at that time, at least with visual art, or were you just straight music at that time?
Mostly music, but I did do like t-shirts and logos and I was like, anything we need like that, we're not hiring someone else. Because at the time, it's like you wanted $250 just for a t-shirt design. I'm going to date myself.
Yeah.
250 was a lot back then.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I'll design this t-shirt and we'll just do it ourselves. Or, the punk thing to do is DIY everything. Yeah. So we would make all our own stuff, make our own merch. We went on tour. We booked our own tours. We would make our own money, not distribute it. And that's I also learned business in that way, in a van, right?
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
So it was like, it got to a point where it's like I could see the bigger picture. Like I see bigger bands, I'm like, I could do that. I see bigger artists, I could do that. I see what he's doing, I could do the same thing. I just gotta do it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of been my motivation. My motivation is just getting out of where I'm at now.
Yeah.
The next step. What's the next thing? Okay.
So can I ask, is like as you're stacking these like infinity stones, collecting different mediums, you're really, next level talent, Tony. Like, I mean, literally from drawing paperworks all the way up to anything creative, spray paint. Obviously, you're a tattoo artist. You've done metal walls and windows and doors and such. So can I ask, is you're now to a point like where we're sitting at now? You're probably 25,000, 30,000 followers on Instagram. You're a pretty notable artist. Yeah, you've done stuff for the Super Bowl. You're on the sides of casinos up in Reno, like 100-foot over here, the expansion over to Area 15. Like, as an artist, I know you said you still have a little bit of that imposter syndrome, and you said like you're always looking for the next thing. Like, what is your next thing? What are you trying to accomplish next?
Okay, so next thing is canvas. I need to go back to canvas. I've been working with these galleries for years. Been asking me to, come hang stuff up, or I'll get an email from someone in Texas asking me if I have any gallery pieces. I'm like, oh, I think I have some time opened up next month
to work on one. Yeah.
Right. So it's like now I don't know if I mentioned, but like I had so much work before, and now I have like the whole month off. I'm just focusing on sketching up some canvas ideas and just like trying to get back to that, getting a studio back in my house.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
I mean, it's really crazy for you to say that you felt like there was a space where you didn't belong or you were weird. I mean, we're sitting next to this guy, so cool, so chill. Work is incredible. All different mediums of really, really deep, realistic work and everything that you've done. And you've almost created your own home and hub here in downtown. Were you selective about being like, I want to work with the downtown community and make this an art scene, or did the art scene just come to you?
I think it was kind of a both, because being born here, I know a lot of, I grew up with a lot of people. So some of the business owners I've known, or just word of mouth. And then I also think there might be like a subtle of jobs I'll take and jobs I'll pass up, where I see like a smaller business wants something, and I'm just like, I can help there. Or if it's a bigger company and they want like an Apple or such place, where they have money, but they're like,
Excuse me.
you can get recognition. You want to paint at our party. I'm just like, this is so insulting.
Yeah.
And it's so tone deaf. But I was like, this is our community. I might even be down here partying. And this has been a while happening. But, sometimes like you'll go out with someone and then you'll be like, oh, I did that one over there. Or like,
Observation.
yeah. So it's like,
Speakeasy.
I'm there. I'm already there. I know these people. It's not like I'm just dropping in to do this corporate gig and never see these people again.
Yeah.
But there's like a heart to it, because I feel like most small businesses, they have this humility about them when they approach you, because it's like they almost like they don't want to insult you and be like, I don't know what you're at, but they're like, I only have this much, and it's like, but sometimes it's like you kind of feel bad for them. It's just like I could see the passion, and then sometimes they'll give you some numbers like way higher than I would have charged them anyway. I'm just like, oh my god, like save your money, like let's lower your expectations here. Let's just talk about this, because I'm not trying to rip anybody off, and I like what I do. I'm not trying to rip off mom and pop shops. And in the city I grew up in, the arts district that didn't exist, that I still appreciate.
It's a beautiful way of saying it.
Yeah.
I live here, so I gotta look at these walls too.
Yeah.
So, dude, we've talked about cults. We've talked about veganism. That was off air.
Yeah.
Tony's back on the meat train, but we don't know if that's good or bad yet. But talked business advice, man, your journey. Before we wrap things up, is there anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to talk about today?
No. I don't know. I'm blanking. So.
No, you're good. You're good.
Any upcoming project or anything that you're really excited about?
Aside from Canvas, anything else?
I'm excited for the Canvas.
I'm excited to see that too, man. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I am honestly, I'm just excited to have some time off to just sit and design and just do whatever I want to do and not have to worry about it. And it's like I appreciate having work as an artist. I love it, obviously, but I also appreciate having some downtime to do nothing, or just to look, just to intake instead of output. So
it's like we always say, busy's good, but sometimes you appreciate the non-busy times. That gives you that fuel, that to recharge and whatnot. Dan, anything before we wrap up here?
Dude, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
You've literally been there since the very first YMCA project, all the way to CC Rano, and now all the way through to our most recent one at El Dorado. And so to many more, man, you're an inspiration to a lot of the artists around here, and it's an honor to hear your story and to be a part of it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Appreciate your honesty today, man.
Yeah.
If you are listening and you're interested checking out Tony, you can find him as Tone Castle, all one word, on Instagram, or tone-castle.com. You can find us, what camera on that one? You can find us at graffitipark_LV if you're curious. Actually, follow us, subscribe, hit the like button. We're here.
Follow,
we're coming at you.
share.
Shondo, thank you, behind the sticks. Mr. Wesley, thank you for behind the glass. And we'll see you next time on Graffiti Park Radio.